Let's go.
Hi, Kat Chancellor here with Stamp Art Connection and StampArtConnection.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I have a project to show you now that all the Christmas stuff is put aside to kind of begin the new year. This is part of the new online exclusives products list that came out in November. And in this list of products is the on display bundle right here, which shows the stamps and dies to kind of create this bookshelf, as well as this wonderful Hobby Haven DSP. Bundle and the paper kind of inspired me after I looked at a project by Sam Calcott of Mixed Up Craft for a conservatory window, kind of a peek in, and this is the project that we're going to do. It takes the on display bundle and creates the bookshelf, as you can see in here, with a couple of pieces of acetate and then an added layer of what looks like windows looking into a conservatory, along with some greenery. Some of these things are going to be part of the DSP from this Hobby Haven Designer Series paper. Some background paper here as part of the spend $75, then you will get to purchase this True Blue Florals DSP for $5 as part of their special offer. And this is just gorgeous paper. I really love this. So I used that, and I pulled in some other products such as a brick and mortar 3D embossing folder and a mini-corrugated 3D embossing folder to kind of give me some texture here. But the windows for this conservatory are going to be from the Layering Squares framelit dies. And I did a number of different examples on how I could layer these framelits. And here are the different size examples that I used until I came up with what I was looking for. This combination here, which is just a layering of a 2-inch and then a smaller 1.5-inch square layering die. I'm using some of my press and seal to kind of hold them together, but I'm going to show you how I cut these out to create this wonderful window facade with some window sheets and acetate, and it just really creates a nice 3D effect. So that is our project, and you will definitely need the on display bundle, some layering square dies. I also pulled in some paper in good taste, which had some wonderful wood patterns that I used for my bookcase, as you can kind of see, which I think really kind of adds a lot of interest. I'm going to use inks like Old Olive, Mossy Meadow, as well as some of the cardstock. And I'm going to kind of show you my little muffin tin and how I cut these out, and then we're going to go ahead, cut out and assemble this. So I'm going to pull in my little muffin tin here. For the bookshelf, again, I used some wood patterned DSP to cut out the outline of the bookshelf. And I also did that for this top piece here, and this is going to measure about 6 inches, which is what our card is going to measure. It's going to measure 6 by 6. I also cut several layers of cardstock to include some thick cardstock, or I also added some either very vanilla or crumb cake cardstock because I wanted to build this up a little bit. I do not want to use dimensionals to give it any kind of depth, so I wanted to do that with paper, and I'm going to kind of glue all those together. So I have this one, and I cut out several layers of this as well. So I've got this piece that's going to go there as well. So that is kind of my approach to cutting out the bookshelves. Now there are a number of lovely dies that are part of this bundle. I have them broken apart between these two sheets. Here's my bookshelf. There are several dies that will cut out some of the stamped images, but I was more or less fascinated with some of these images here. And this is a bird cage, and I've cut that out of gold. There's also some books, and what I did is I used, instead of using the stamp, I mean, you can use the stamp like I did here for these books, but what I really liked about using the dies is that it offers an impression of the whole book, and from that you can use a stamping blend to color and give your books some added color and dimension. And I did that using my old olive, some balmy blue, some light cherry cobbler crumb cake. So you can see how those are added in here in our project. So that's how I cut and colored the book pieces. The other element is there's a little frame in here, and I used the frame, but I added a piece of mirrored cardstock so that it became a mirror, as you can see right there. So that's another element for our bookshelf. There's also a decanter. I cut this out of some of the blue and white paper because I was trying to get a blue and white kind of feeling for this decanter, but you can also do it out of a kind of a mirrored cardstock, as I did here, so that you can kind of add another texture, some more interest to our bookshelf. Here it is with the lid on it, and it's actually, I've curved it a little bit with my finger. So that is another element that can be added into our bookshelf. Now there are also some other pieces, and I'm just going to kind of pull these out. There's a circle frame that I cut out of gold foil. There is a frame for a globe, and I'll show you how I did that. And then there are, when you cut out the different pieces for the bookshelf, you end up getting some, they could be used as drawers for your bookshelf, and as you can see in here, I used those as bottom drawers, and there are some nice kind of drawer pulls that you can cut out. Here are all my books. Like I said, this is my little muffin tin, so I sit down and I kind of cut things out, come up with the different things that I need. There's big door pulls and there's small door pulls. I really like this bird cage just by itself. There are, as I said, there are decanters that look like crystal decanters. I stamped these in several colors, but I also added some glossy accents to kind of make them kind of shimmer a little bit. Here is one that I stamped kind of using a pool party color, but I added the glossy accent, so it kind of looks like maybe a crystal decanter that can be used as part of the elements of our bookcase. So I have those put aside. Now, for the globe, here's another one that I cut out. So I've got those as potential. Now, this stamp set has a globe, and what I did is I stamped the globe out of Misty Moonlight or Blueberry Bushel, and then I colored the earth part of the globe using my crumb cake. Then I used my glossy accents to kind of give that globe kind of that kind of neat round finished feel, and I cut them out in a circle. I'm going to glue my frame to the edge of this, and that's going to create my globe, and you can see it's right in here where I did the globe. You can kind of see it right in there. So that's another nice piece. So you can see the elements in this project. I've used the books, I've used the wire bird cage, I've used the globe, I've used the mirror piece. Again, I've used more books stacked up there, and I used the drawers with the drawer pulls. Now, the final piece that I really liked is that this die here creates these wonderful kind of full foliage pieces that you can cut out of several different colors of cardstock. You can use a little bit of a sponge dauber and give it just a little bit more accent, and you can create kind of this nice potted plant. You could see it in there using one of the potted plant dies right there, and that gives you a nice filler for your bookcase. So that is how I approached these plants. Additionally, there's a die that has this interesting plant here. You can pretty much kind of approach it the same way, but in this case what I did is for the DSP there is a shelf right here, and I just basically fussy cut that and added that to the background, and then added that foliage right there to kind of give it just a little bit of balance between this piece, this piece, this piece here, and then I have this piece in the back which was cut from the DSP, and that's several pieces. Like there's a piece here, and there's several pieces that you can use from Hobby Haven DSP. Now additionally, what I liked is that this shape here, which is this die, is basically the shape for these elephant ears, and I just stamped a bunch of them on some Mossy Meadow cardstock. I stamped some on some very vanilla cardstock, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of collect them and use them to create this plant that's going to be in the foreground, and I'll show you how to do that. Kind of look at using these different colors. They're going to kind of all work together, and that this piece here that's going to be placed inside this pot is just going to kind of serve as our base as we kind of add some foliage around that piece to kind of give that fullness. So I hope this is intriguing you, because I really loved working the project. It is a very detailed project, but I think it's equally just beautiful. I intend to give this as a congratulations project for my sister. On the back, I'm going to go ahead and put the congratulatory note, and I'm going to give this to her because she just finished her master's for nursing, and I wanted to come up with kind of a special card, and I think this really kind of suits the purpose, and it is something that will be, I think, treasured for some time. It's not that hard to make, again, as long as you go ahead and you cut the pieces and you kind of understand how you put the project together. You can make several of these, and that's what we're going to do now. So please join me, hit like, and let's go ahead and begin to put together our card. Okay, so you're going to begin by needing a piece of cardstock, basic white. It's going to measure 8 3/4 by 6. You're going to lay it on your scoreboard, and you're going to score it 1/4 inch, 6 1/4, 7 1/4, and 8 1/4, and then you will fold to create your base card with a Valley Mountain fold like that. Okay, that's the base card. Then you'll need 2 pieces of acetate. One is going to measure 6 1/4 by 6, and you are going to score at 1/4 inch here, and then you're going to bend that with your bone folder, so you create this piece here with this little bent piece, and this is where we're going to use that to attach that to the top. And then another layer will be 6 inches by 5 3/4 inches, and this is going to go as another layer. So this top layer here is going to be our conservatory windows, and this is going to be where we're going to put our bookcase. Now you will have to use some paper to cut your bookcase, and in this case I like to use some of the In Good Taste Designer Series paper, where I have some wonderful patterns, wood patterns, that I wanted to take and use. I cut this piece here and this piece, and it creates a bunch of these little pieces here as well. So when I punch this out, I'm going to have this as the front of my bookcase, and then this as my top piece. And I'm going to punch that little piece out right there, and that is going to go right there. Now don't throw these away, because we're going to use a piece to create our little doors or drawers here, and that is going to be this piece here, which we're going to put there, and this piece here. So we want to save these because we're going to cut out our handles and use those for the bottom of our bookcase. The rest of these you can save or just kind of set aside for another project. Alright, so that's our bookcase. Now I'm going to cut several more pieces of this die with some basic white, some thick basic white cardstock, so I can kind of build this up a little bit, and it's a little bit more stiff when I begin to apply it to my acetate. But what I also want to do is I'm using this lovely paper here called True Blue Florals, and I'm going to select a piece that I want to have for the background, which is going to be kind of like the back wall. And I'm going to select this piece here, and it's pretty much cut. I'm going to have to trim it a little bit, but this is going to be the back of my base card. And the reason why I like this dark piece is that with this white light wood, it creates a really nice contrast with the light and the dark. And then I'm going to cut some other things as we go through, and I'll show you some of those as well. But I'm going to go ahead and finish assembling this bookcase. I'm just going to back these a little bit with this cardstock here. Okay, so I'm going to set these aside here. I'm going to bring this in, and I can probably cut this maybe it's exactly at 6. I'm just going to kind of cut it by 1/8. About 1/8, and it's going to fit in here very nicely. Okay, so I have a piece 6 by, it's about a little bit over 1 inch. I'm going to grab a sponge dauber for copper clay. Okay, so this is the stem wall. It's going to go right in front of here. We're going to cut that down to size. So now let us go ahead and begin to cut our conservatory windows. And I am going to use my layering squares, and I am using the 2-inch square and the 1.5-inch square. And I'm just going to bring in some cardstock, and I'm going to cut that about, I guess about a little bit over 2 inches, and I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to cut 9 of them. You need to cut 9 of these. And these little squares pop out, and I just kind of set them aside. But you can see it's basically 2 strips of cardstock, just 2 strips of a 11 by 8 piece of cardstock. Cut that down to about 2 inches, and you can get all 9 of these on one sheet, and I use the thick cardstock. To assemble our conservatory windows, we're going to need some pieces because we're going to do this all by hand. There's no die for this. So I'm going to bring in a cutting board, and what we're going to do is we're going to cut some pieces, and I'm going to cut them 1/4 inch. So how I do that is I've got a piece of cardstock and I've measured it here, and it is exactly 4 inches. So I'm just going to go across 1/8 inch, right? Yeah, 1, 2, yeah, 1/8 inch. So these are going to be 1/8 inch wide. And we're just going to go and walk this down, and I need about at least 6 or 8 because these are going to be the front. So I need at least 3, 6. Okay, so I need at least 6. So I have 6 here, and then I've got a couple of extra ones over here that I've cut. Then I'm going to need a couple that are going to be actually a whole 1/4 inch, and I'm going to need 2 of those. So I'm going to cut that 1/4, and I'm going to cut 1 more. So I have 3 of those. So I'm going to bring in my silicone mat because I'm going to lay these out upside down on the silicone mat. And you can tell that there's a front and a back. And I'm just going to lay them out like this. Okay, then I'm going to take one of these 1/4 inch slats here. I'm going to add some glue along this. Just kind of get it nice and glued up. Might even spread it. And I'm just going to just make sure it's all kind of aligned. And I'm just going to take the glue side and I'm just going to press it right there along that seam. And you still have a little bit of time, you can kind of move those around. But there it is. That's that piece. Then I'm going to do the same for my last row again. Okay, so this is now the front of our conservatory piece. That's where I'm going to take these 1/8 pieces and we're going to lay them down right along those cracks there. So you can begin to see how I've kind of built that, right? We have these pieces we laid here, then we're going to turn this around, and I am going to add glue along this strip, and then we're going to lay it along these gaps. It's going to cover these gaps right here. Okay, if there's any loose sides, like there's a loose piece right here, right? There's a loose piece right here. I can then take one of these pieces, another one of my 1/8, or rather my 1/4 inch, and I can just go ahead and cut just a piece to kind of make sure that's nice and joined right there. And I'm doing this on the back side. So there's my front right there, and there's my back, and this is going to go on the front of my piece. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to cut those pieces off. But that's now ready to go as part of, it's going to be part of this piece. It's going to be part of this piece right here. So let's just go ahead and put that aside. And now let's work on some of these other pieces. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is we're going to build this plant that we're going to put in the foreground. And I just have a piece of cardstock here that is cut out of, this is Mossy Meadow, and I'm just going to go ahead and pull in, And this is going to be our base, which we are going to attach to this pot here. Now I have a piece that I cut. Now I stamped and then I did fussy cut, but we're going to put this piece here right on top of that shape. So you can stop there, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add some foliage. Now I have leaves that were cut out of different colors of cardstock here. Darker leaves, lighter leaves. And we're going to use the lighter leaves, and I'm also going to kind of pinch these because I'm going to kind of form them a little, because this is going on the foreground. And I'm going to add some glue here. And we're going to add that right like that. You kind of see how that's kind of layering up. Then I have a smaller one here that I am going to use a small dimensional on. You got a mini dimensional. Just going to put that one back here. And we're going to put that one, you see we have that stem right there. We're just going to put that one like kind of overlapping that light one. And if I wanted to put one more, I could put another one. Okay, so there's my potted plant for the front. Now for this one, I have the two different colors. I believe this is Granny Apple Green, and then this is Mossy Meadow. And I'm going to put this in front, and then we're just going to kind of intermingle these leaves like this, where one goes in front and then one goes in back, kind of like that. Okay, and then I'm just going to glue this. I'm going to glue these together here. Okay, so here are my two plants that I have. Now, I also kind of talked about the bookcase, and this bookcase was cut out of the designer series paper. Now what I did is I took some boho blue, and you can see this one I fussy cut as well, but I took some boho blue and I just kind of covered the back, because when you lay this down on here, it's going to kind of match. And if I've got this one, see how I've got all that white? So what I'm going to do is we're going to come in here, and I'm just going to grab this boho blue, and we're just going to kind of color some of this background here. Now that kind of blends into that background a little bit better. Okay, so that's a little trick for doing that, and that's using Boho Blue Dark. Kind of matches that background. Okay, so I'm going to put this one, either put this one by itself or I'll double it. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, okay, but that's ready for that. So all my plants are ready, and I just want to show you another one that I cut out, because this is another option. You could even cut out the chair and put the chair in the background if you want to, and then I cut out another plant and I just added it right there for layering. So that's kind of another option if you like. Okay, is I took a piece of tear tape. My camera went off, so I just didn't capture this, but I put a piece of tear tape right on that lip that's right there, and I'm going to make sure that it's on there well, because I'm going to go ahead and use my bone folder. Now this piece, okay, we put it down. How do we know which side is up? Well, you put it down and you'll notice that the 6-inch side will cover completely the 6-inch, and it's 6 by 5 3/4, so it's a little bit short on the bottom, but that's okay. I also grabbed a lens wipe, which is lint-free. It's alcohol based, and what I'm trying to do is just kind of clean my sheet off to make sure that there's no lint or static, and especially this side right here that's going to go against my tear tape, right? So I gotta make sure I have this right. Yep, that goes like right there. So let's go ahead and lift our tear tape. And then let's place this right along. I'm kind of using my finger as a guide as I kind of lay this down right there, right on that edge. Okay, so it has gone right on that edge. And then I'm going to make sure that this okay, and that is on there really, really well. Okay, so this is where we're going to begin to assemble our bookcase. So I have the top, and I kind of wait till the end because I like to see how far down this is going to go. Right, I'm going to put this right here, like that, and it kind of covers these two things there. So let's just go ahead and if you'll notice, I got a little bit of white there. Well, I could take my shears and kind of trim that. I also can get some of my crumb cake in light and just make sure that that is covered on both sides. Alright, so I've got my glue. And then we're just going to put this right there like that. And I'm going to center it. Right, I'm just going to make sure it's centered. Okay, so there is my bookcase. So I want to now adhere this to my window sheet, and I'm going to use tear tape to do that, and I'm just going to kind of do the top and the bottom, just kind of like that. And it's just going to hit the bottom of this, just going to hit the bottom of it. So let's turn this around and let me grab a piece, another piece of tear tape. Now, before I put this on here, let me put my tear tape on here first so you can see it's going to go right across. It's going to go right across this right here. And it's going to go right across this bottom right there. I'm just going to make sure it's adhered well to our cardstock. Now, before I place this, I want to make sure I'm just hitting right just the bottom of that acetate piece, and then this is going to go right there. Now, before I put it down, again, I'm going to take another one of my lens wipes, and I'm going to wipe my acetate to make sure it's nice, and it's going to be nice and clear. And you can even do it on the back if you want, because I'm going to start adding pieces to my bookshelf, so I want to make sure it looks, you know, it's clean. So let me grab my bookshelf here, and let me pull off this hair tape. Okay, and then let's go ahead and center this, starting kind of at the bottom, that bottom edge, and up. Okay, so now that is on there. So you remember I had these drawer pulls. Well, this one's going to go here, and this one's going to go here, and I am going to use a dot to put that in there. So let me add a dot here, and again, I like to use my crumb cake. I think this one I'm using is dark. I'm just going to go around these edges here. Okay, so now I'm going to go into our little tray here. Let's look at our globe. So I have this globe that I covered with the glossy accent. So I'm just going to cut this around. Okay, so, and then of course, I'm going to grab my crumb cake, and I'm just going to go ahead and kind of color this edge here. Now, this little frame here is actually two pieces, a piece of white cardstock and a piece of gold foil. So I'm going to put that, and I just have to make sure this is I'm going to add some glue, okay, and I'm just going to add some glue along this edge here. I'm just going to dot that like that. I'm going to bring this in. I'm just going to hold that right there at the edge. And I can, you see there's a little bit of a gap there. I can put a little bit of glue right along there. I have a little bit there. I have to be careful. It will dry clear, but I don't, I'm just going to hold that right there. Okay, so that is my globe, and it's going to look nicely right there, but I'm going to let that set right here, just let it dry for a minute while I bring in these other pieces that we're going to assemble as our arrangement. Okay, so there is our bookshelf. Now we're going to fold that because I have this piece here, which is that stem wall. And this stem wall is going to go right in here. And if you can see, I'm going to turn that over and kind of mark the back because I kind of want to cut this stem wall so it fits just a tad above. And you can see I have that line, and that line kind of goes along that brick and mortar line. So I'm going to bring in a small cutter because I want to make sure that this is even. Right, that's my line. So I'm going to line this up. So I'm going to cut right at the top of those bricks. And that makes sure that my line, see that? My line is perfectly even. And then I'm going to put this, and it doesn't have to go all the way to the bottom. I can just glue that right there to the top. And that's what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to put this I don't want any white showing, so I'm just going to move it up just maybe, I don't know, 1/16. You see how I kind of have just a little bit of lip there? Because that's what is going to go there. So my bookshelf is done. So now what I want to do is we're going to pull out a little bit because we're going to add the next cover of acetate. Okay, here is my last piece of acetate. It has the lip, and that is going to go on right here like that. But we can go ahead and we can add our conservatory window front, and you're going to need a piece of, this is a little bit over 6, but I took the Mini-Corrugated embossing folder and I embossed this so that I've got these kind of these ridges because they're going to help to build our frame. Now I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to cut these off. Okay, so this is the front and that's the back. So again, grabbing a wipe, we're going to make sure that our acetate on the front has been wiped clean. We don't have any oils on it or anything. And then we want to clean it before we start adding this window on it. So I'm going to take a piece of tear tape again, and we're going to add it to these two middle pieces here. And that's really all you need to secure this down. You don't need a whole bunch. Make sure that my tear tape is nice and secured. Okay, so here's my window sheet. I'm going to kind of line it up so you can kind of see it's over that silicone mat. And I'm going to place this right there in the center. And I guess if you wanted to, you could basically just put that right there like that. I mean, you could leave this open. But I am going to add another piece up here, and that's where I'm going to bring this in. And I want this to be, and you'll notice that this is like 2 inches. So I'm going to cut about 1/4. Okay, so that is about almost 3/4 of an inch, but it's actually like a couple of ridges, and I can add this. Let me put this aside, to the top of this to kind of form the top of my window. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm just going to do this with just some plain glue here. Okay, so now we're going to flip this over, and I'm going to add some tear tape to the back of this. And again, I just have to take my sheet, make sure that's nice and clean, as is this surface here. Okay, so that is there, and then this is going to go lined up right along this edge. Now, do you see how this is buckling there? I actually need to add another piece of tear tape to this piece right here. Okay, so now you can see that is on there. Alright, so let's go ahead and take off this piece here. Now, again, we can always make sure it's clean. I can go ahead and cut another piece. Let's add another piece right here, and that will be kind of our window right there. And this is going to go right here like this, because we're going to fold this flat. Now, notice we have this big lip right here. So you can cut this down a bit so that when you glue this piece down, it's hidden. And that's going to be another piece of tear tape. So let me grab this. But before I do that, I just want to show you how absolutely lovely this is. And then you can pop this forward over that stem wall, and you can kind of see how it kind of offers some dimension there. You can kind of play with the design, so don't get too hard over on the design. You can play with that. You can also, if you want to, if you want to leave it like this, you can, but it does kind of fall forward. Before I seal that, once more, I'm going to take a wipe and make sure all my surfaces are clean. Once you put that tear tape down, then they're kind of hard to get to. Let me grab this, and this can go here, and this can go here, and then this can go here. So I'm just going to grab. Okay, and the last thing I need to do is we want to do a sentiment. So I went over here to Wonderful Thoughts. I love the thinking of you there. I'm just going to go ahead and stamp a couple of those. Okay, so I have this, which I can put that right there. Okay, and that is the Wonderful Thoughts for that one. And then for this other one here, I use the Simply Said Thinking of You. So there's two things that you can use. So there you have it. I came up with this wonderful tent card with a conservatory window with double sheets of acetate. I used the on display bundle to create the wonderful bookshelf and all the little pieces and parts inside. And I actually created several of these. Just a really nice card. I'm going to put a sentiment on the back. It fits in a 6x6 envelope, and just really a special card. It took me a couple of weeks to get this tutorial done. I started it right after Christmas, but I got ill and I just kind of had to work around getting better, kind of recovering and working, because I am a part-time Stampin' Up demonstrator. So I really appreciate your patience and let me bring this wonderful project to you. If you haven't already, please hit like. All products are available in my online store. There will be a link. Go to my blog for project details and more pictures. If you're looking for a demo, please consider joining my team or consider joining as a hobbyist so that you can enjoy a 20% discount. And if you are a demo, please like my content by hitting like, share, and leave a comment. This is Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and stampartconnection.com. Happy 2026. I hope this is a much less chaotic year for everyone. Sending blessings. Happy stamping.